Welcome back to Star Wars Newsnet Live. Thank the Force, we're here again. There are things to talk about this evening. This is like a breath of fresh air because, I've had some fun the last few weeks because we had just a good time with various Star Wars things, but it's always nice to get a little November surprise news that just kicks it into gear, gets the Star Wars midichlorian count, up a little bit. And after the week that we've had, I think it's going to be nice to escape for a little bit into a galaxy far, far away and just enjoy each other's company, talking about Star Wars and seeing what the future has in store along those lines. I've also had a couple adult beverages this evening, so I'm like, fired up, ready to go, and I'm looking forward to this evening. My name's Tyler. For those of you tuning in for the first time, welcome to Star Wars Newsnet Live, your one-stop shop for all things Star Wars. Check out the website at starwarsnewsnet.com. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all the things, at Star Wars Newsnet. And then, of course, check us out on Apple and Spotify at Star Wars Newsnet for our Monday and then tonight and Saturday podcasts that we roll out to you. And I am joined for the first time in a long time on back-to-back Thursdays, Jay and my good friend Luke. How are you two doing? We have the video game master himself, Jay, and then the lore guru himself, Mr. Luke, this evening. How we doing?
Well, those are quite big and glorious titles. I don't know if I deserve that, but no, thank you. Doing great today. It's a bit of a rainy, a little bit of a windy, cool Thursday night here in Hawaii. So I had to put on a sweater.
Oh no.
I know, right? It's like, oh no, it's getting down to 70 degrees. Oh no, it's the end of the world. But
looks like I wore a winter coat today to work.
Inside.
Luke, how many times have you had to like ice off your windshield so far this year?
Well, it hasn't happened yet, but it's like right around the corner. So
okay,
it's that season.
Obviously, I'm not in much different situation, Jay, as I'm wearing a tank top. So I can't, like I said, I went out, hung out this evening with some friends wearing tank top and shorts. So it's beautiful. This is why you move to Florida, only for the weather in the fall if you want to avoid, the winter. Like this is like the only time I like Florida weather is from now until February, March, where I'm just going to get 60s, 70s instead of that horrible weather. So we managed to talk about the weather for the first half of the first 4 minutes. So I appreciate that about us as always. Who do you think in Star Wars would be like the most, like who would talk about the weather the most in Star Wars? And why is it C-3PO?
He's always talking about the most trivial things. He will go on. He's the friend who will talk to you for 10 minutes about nothing. He'll say 1,000 words and nothing will be said. So obviously 3PO.
Mm-hmm. Obviously 3PO. I have to say that I am really looking forward to tonight because we're going to talk about some breaking news that happened in Star Wars today, which I cannot wait to discuss a little bit. We're not going to touch on it a lot. That's going to be a main topic of the Monday podcast this week, and we're going to dive into a lot of that. But Paul and I think, are on deck to discuss that for next Monday. But I obviously want to touch on it today because it happened today. It's going to be breaking news. So we're going to be talking about that. Kind of overshadows the fact that we had a brand new like SWNN Crew trailer that dropped this last week, and so that is something that has a lot of fun little nuggets in there to unpack. And then of course we're going to have a little Star Wars superlative fall festival action going on. So I think it's going to be a really fun time. I know a lot of people out there have had a very rough week or had a very emotionally taxing week. So our mental health may need a bit of a reprieve here to just dive in and have fun talking about some Star Wars this week. And so I'm all about that. And I'm ready to talk about this breaking news if you guys are.
Love it. Let's do it.
So Jay, throw that banner up on the screen for us because Simon Kinberg has been reported to be on board to write and produce a new Star Wars trilogy. And I want to get the pulse of the fandom from you two. Like, because I think that we have Luke, who is the extreme optimist, and Jay, I'm not going to call Jay a pessimist, but I'm going to we'll say pragmatic. We'll say pragmatic, from Jay.
Sure.
Because I think there are definitely people out there who are very excited or at least intrigued by this and feel like, oh, this is a name that's going to stick. And then there are the people out there that are like, oh, great. Yep. This person is hired on. In 6 months, they'll disappear once again into the ether of all of those who have fallen before in the creative differences segment of Lucasfilm movie producing. But to me, this one has a little bit of a different ring to it because of his history with Lucasfilm, his history with Star Wars, and it's not like he was signed on to direct all of these movies. It's clear that they chose someone like reliable, someone that can clearly pump out a project, and he's co-producing this with Kathleen Kennedy or whoever is going to be in charge by the time these come out. And he's not being asked to direct all of them. He's on there to write. So, what would you say was your first thoughts when you saw this, Luke? What did you think when we had this news break today?
I was very surprised, and I don't think that's novel or something individual to myself. Didn't see this one coming. The past couple months, I've been tuning into the Monday podcast, and there's been a lot of discussion between you and Miguel, Tyler, about the Rey movie, Dave Filoni's movie, maybe Dawn of the Jedi. There's a lot of other movies still in not production, but like being thrown around that are potentially down the pipeline. If you want to include all the things that are technically still out there, like the Rian Johnson trilogy and all these things that are like shrouded in mystery, but they're out there. And so
you have the 3 mainline projects, and then you have just the others that are just kind of disappearing. Yeah. And this definitely feels like, hey, this is a mainline project.
Yes, this made me feel like, you know what, this one could really take off. It's him writing all 3. I'm down for that. Let's get someone to just spearhead a trilogy. Star Wars is built on trilogies. Let's do it. I was going to be okay with the one-off movies. I was going to champion them hard, but like to have another trilogy like ready to go, like that's what we're aiming for. I'm like, okay, I was aiming for that. I like the trilogy idea. That's how Star Wars works to me. Even book trilogies work. The movies are kind of set up this way. So I'm really excited. I have become a little bit more of a realist. I know that this is not a guarantee, but it makes me very excited. And I'm going to be the number one supporter of it. Like I'm championing this until we hear that it's not happening. So
there we go.
I'm very, very excited for the potential of what this could be. Maybe a brand new story. It is not episodes 10 through 12. I'm hoping for something just brand new. Maybe taking place after 9, but just like completely new story. So
I think it's going to be brand new. I don't think it's going to be attached to any project. It may be near a timeline of some upcoming projects. It may have some characters that pop up, but I think this is going to be a brand new thing, separate from everything that launches or attempts to launch a new saga of sorts. That's what I think. Jay, where are you at with this?
I think like at first, like I had like a lot of initial joy at the announcement, because at first it was thought that this could actually be episodes 10 through 12. But then I believe it's the Hollywood Reporter that actually went and clarified by their sources that no, it's not actually episodes 10 through 12. That being said, it doesn't mean that they can't use some of the characters or that it can't take place in that time period that 10 through 12 could possibly like be like that same era. So at first I was like, oh yeah, we're getting like another like Star Wars trilogy. It's going to be 10 through 12. But then once the kind of dust settled, I was like, oh, okay, maybe it might be something different. Yeah, like I think in our staff Discord chat, there are a lot of people who are very tentative about Simon Kinberg. He has kind of a bit of a spotty record, being that he worked on the X-Men films, especially like the later ones, like Dark Phoenix and X-Men Apocalypse. Granted, there were some pretty big. There was some good ones in that X-Men saga, like X-Men Days of Future Past. But yeah, like he does have a spotty record. But I think if you want to look at the positives, he also has a long track record with Star Wars, working on Star Wars Rebels, and then he has good repertoire with Dave Filoni. And then I think the other great positive takeaway is that it's going to have one vision. It's going to be one person who has a plan throughout all three movies, which is something that I think a lot of us will agree on. That's something that the sequel trilogy lacked, which was one cohesive vision all throughout that trilogy.
Here, I'll push back a little bit on the X-Men stuff because I know that people hear that he's attached to Dark Phoenix and they go nuts, right? Because Dark Phoenix is a disaster. However,
I actually like Dark Phoenix though. Funny enough, I thought it was okay. I thought hot take. I think it's okay.
Okay, that's a whole nother podcast. So. Jay, to even say here's that proves my point though, that people go nuts with Dark Phoenix because the hot take for you for Dark Phoenix is that it's okay. Like you can't even be like, my hot take is that Dark Phoenix is good. No, it's a hot take to say it's okay. Like that in itself shows just how interesting Dark Phoenix is for you. So, but here's what we have to remember and take a step back is that Simon Kinberg, he wrote a lot of those movies and was a producer in a lot of them. And then they gave him the keys to the kingdom for Dark Phoenix, and he was then the director as well, I believe, for that one. And he kind of had everything in line for him there. And so I think the point that we need to take away from that is he's not being asked to direct these three movies. He's being asked to just work on the vision and then pump this movie out. Like he is producing this movie as well. And he has a proven track record in terms of producing and writing that I can get behind. I think that maybe having him also like hop into the director's chair for that, it pushed him outside of his skill set where like you're asking him, he's now writing, he's got the vision, he's got the producing, now he's directing. I think that is something that doesn't necessarily like fit into the mold of like his, when we look at the history of what he's been mostly successful at, is he's clearly an accomplished writer and producer. Like that's maybe his wheelhouse right there. And expanding beyond that isn't necessarily his forte. And so it seems like we have him in his sweet spot where he's very familiar with Lucasfilm. He has history with Star Wars. He's not directing this. He's not going to be the directive vision of these movies. He is going to help us steer, like you said, the vision of these movies in terms of the story, and we're going to pump these movies out. We need people that are reliable, that can get these movies from start to finish, because if we are being brutally honest here, there has only been one movie since Star Wars took over Lucasfilm, or sorry, yeah, since Disney took over Lucasfilm, that has had, no production issues and has had a very easy time of it. And that's The Last Jedi, which is actually the most controversial one of all. And that should tell you just how big of a problem we have with being able to create these movies, even the ones that have actually been made. So I think now we have someone that's like, hey, signed, sealed, delivered. Like he can at least put something on the big screen for us and get us where we need to go. And I think that is the most important takeaway here. And I think they don't do this if it's not happening sooner rather than later, which makes me really start to wonder, like, what is happening down the line. I didn't read Jeff Snyder's article yet. Or Jeff Snyder's, what do you call it? His newsletter. So to speak. Yeah. I'll go in there right now.
Yeah, no, so if you don't mind, sorry, Luke, I'll just
go ahead.
That. Like, I think that you are right, though, Tyler. Like, because there are some really great and talented artists and creators who have signed up, for a lot of these movies, but I mean, where are they? Where is
Mhm.
Taika Waititi's film? Where is Patty Jenkins's Rogue One film? These are great, talented writers and directors, but we haven't seen their movies. And so I think you are right. I mean, it's one thing to actually have great visionaries. It's another to have someone who actually can execute on a vision. And I think that that's probably what Lucasfilm is thinking is, okay, like this guy might not have the greatest track record, but at least he's someone who can get something out the door.
Mhm.
Yeah. I was just gonna just bring up, like, even if this is indeed episodes 10, 11, and 12, we're not continuing the Skywalker saga, are we? I feel like that was very clearly like marketed as like episode 9 is the end of the Skywalker saga. So I feel like, in my just
In fairness,
humble
they marketed
opinion,
Revenge of the Sith the same way in 2005. So
that's fair. They did indeed do that. I'm kind of just wondering if it would make sense to do episodes, name them 10, 11, and 12,
Mhm.
if it's not a direct continuation of the Skywalker saga. Like, I feel like the Skywalker saga are the only movies that have numbers like that. Even Rogue One and Solo, they're not numbered. Um, and that's obvious, but like, I feel like maybe we should just get a new naming convention
Mhm.
in there, and maybe not just character's name as the name of the project too. So it's just kind of
I
my 2 cents on it.
I I I do not think it will be 10, 11, 12. I do not I don't think so. I really we'll see what happens. And obviously Snyder has contacts because he's been spot on about a lot of things.
Oh yeah,
But
oh yeah.
but I don't think they're gonna go that direction. I think the Charmin Obey Chinoy movie is gonna be fine. And I think it's gonna have its new writer. And he even said he thinks that a new writer's already been attached. I think we'll find that out sooner rather than later as well. But I think that the purpose of this is going to be to push Star Wars forward in a new direction and something that
Let's
reinvigorates
go.
fans with some level of familiarity. And the way you do that is not by saying 10, 11, 12, and it's by doing something else, I think. I think you have to be able to learn the right lessons from The Last Jedi. And the right lessons from The Last Jedi is not, or the wrong lesson from The Last Jedi that it seems like they learned was we need to stop taking risks. We need to spoon feed our fans. And the lesson to learn from The Last Jedi is that it's not necessarily about taking risks. This is about, do the risks pay off? Are they the right ones to take? And I firmly believe that the best way for Star Wars to move forward is if you kick and you miss, it's, you get back up there, you try to kick another field goal, you see if you can make it again. You swing and you miss, you try to get back up to the plate and knock one out of the park. That's the only way for Star Wars to advance. And there's gonna be people that hate what you do no matter what. That's literally been Star Wars since forever. So I wouldn't concern ourselves with that, necessarily when we're trying to think of these themes. But it's going to be interesting to monitor this over the coming weeks, coming months. I have a feeling we will find more out before next summer. That's for sure. I would be shocked if they walk onto the stage for Star Wars Celebration and don't tell us what the next movie is going to be after Mando and Grogu. I feel like they have to nail that down. They have to generate some buzz there, some excitement, or they'll have some hell to pay, I think. But, we'll see. I'm excited either way. It means we have more things in the works. This one feels like it's locked and loaded, ready to go. The timelines of all of these things. Once again, I think we're going to be talking about that for the Monday pod. Is the timelines of everything it gets really tricky to try to fit all of these projects in. Any final words for guys? Yeah, go ahead.
So they're going to come on stage at Celebration Japan, and they're going to say the movie after Mando and Grogu is Simon Kinberg's first movie of his trilogy. What do you think about that? Is that even possible? If they're announcing this right now today, is there a possibility that they're just going to jumpstart and well, we're just going to throw this one into production. Let's get this one going.
The only I say no because This
we
wasn't
literally know
announced by
nothing.
this
So,
wasn't
yeah.
announced by Lucasfilm. This was leaked, to deadline from Lucasfilm. This wasn't announced by Lucasfilm versus at Star Wars Celebration last April. We had Daisy and Charmina on stage. We had Dave on stage. We had Mangold on stage, and they said, "Here's our vision for the next 3 movies." Now, the Acolyte happening and being a disaster for Lucasfilm in a lot of ways, monetarily and PR wise, that may have just completely shifted everything completely. And they said, we have to go in a new direction. And this is the person we're going to hire to get us like our vision for our new direction. And we're going to go that way. And so obviously it's possible that they come on stage and say Mando and Grogu in 26, and they drop a thing and say 2027, May of 27, this movie by this person will come out, because they have been coy with the December 26 and the May or the December 27, slots by not telling you which movie they're planning to have in those slots. I wonder if by, April, they have a clear vision of this is the movie we want to move into the next direction. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. But the problem is they're putting so much pressure on themselves to make that happen then at that point, that I just wonder if it's easier to say 2027 and hope people forget about that here in a year after Grogu comes out. Is my 2 cents.
No, I agree with that.
Let me catch up on some comments here. Manslayer, I've long said that I think the Rey movie are in between Trilogy's projects. People complained and sequels too much, that we jump to the climax of the era of those movies with no development. Fair point. Despite Star Wars always being like that, I think they're telling the story in traditional chronological order. I think the leads are sequel trilogy characters. We have minimal legacy characters and much more new characters. And we will deal with the mystic side of the Force, World Between Worlds, Wills, etc., like a new frontier, which in a sense is not the Skywalker saga, but it is, just a guess. So, yeah, here's my thing. And tell me what you guys think. I don't think the mystical side of Star Wars appeals to the general audience of Star Wars.
I think it works for like the publishing and the books. I just finished the Darth Plagueis novel today. And there's so much deep Sith lore going on, and it's so cool for people who are like super into Star Wars. But that's why it's like not a movie. It's like if you're like real deep into this, like you would love this book. And I think like Manslayer, I'm with you. Like that sounds extremely intriguing to me. I think I'd love that. It would be like a book or comic. I don't think it's going to like make it into like a movie. So I'm kind of with you there, Tyler. Like I don't think it appeals to the general audience. Like that's not what they think of as
they can
Star
have
Wars.
Segments.
Absolutely. Like the Force
be
is part of
intertwined.
Star Wars, but it's not like what Star Wars is about. It's like not the main thing. It's a real fun aspect of Star Wars. So
what do you think, Jay? I just think that like if we think of like a general Star Wars fan, like that general audience fan, that I don't know, like you ask them to talk to you about Force Ghosts, they would just be like, oh, the people that come back. But like you ask like someone that reads these books about the lore of Force Ghosts and all of the lore that gets thrown in. I think if you go into this movie that's so heavy on mystical lore that you're making people like think about all these things too much, I don't know if that's like a mass appeal movie. Where I think about, and this isn't anything to do with Star Wars, but I think about like how Top Gun Maverick like has a lot to say, doesn't necessarily make you think a whole bunch though. And we go in, we have a good time, and we feel good. Like Star Wars is a much heavier hitter than that because it has very deep, rich themes. But I also don't leave a Star Wars movie usually being deep entrenched in like lore talk. And I'm more talking about like the sense of hope, family, rescue, hype about this battle, hype about this score. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting fine line that the movies have to walk between the mythological and the philosophical, and then just the easy, casual, fun for the whole family fun. But that being said, I think it can reach a pretty big audience because, I mean, just look at how many people also really love the Old Republic or Knights of the Old Republic, even those games, which that also has some very deep lore and some of the mystical aspects as well. I mean, I shared the news of the Simon Kinberg announcement in a video game Discord I'm part of. And then that was one of the things that they shared was like, well, why aren't they making Knights of the Old Republic? Luke's cocking his head, being like, "Oh, come on, we've heard this."
Listen, the Old Republic is like great stuff. I just also think it like fits into like the man. It's like the Manslayer thing. It's like that's heavy lore stuff. I don't think that's gonna work in a Star Wars movie.
but I think there's also like even a huge demand for that stuff among the thing is that there's huge demand for it though
online.
I'm sure. I mean, but at the same time, I think that even though I think that online, even if it is just online discourse, that demand can translate to actual tickets.
I think we saw like a high demand for non-Skywalker saga things from people online, and it resulted in the worst watched premieres of a show.
Well, I think there's a lot more to it than that, though. And if we're talking about like the failure of the Acolytes,
and then even talking about George Lucas Star Wars, in the comments, like George Lucas Star Wars, people are craving Lucas Star Wars. Well, what happened the last time we got Lucas Star Wars? Everyone came out and hated on it.
Sure,
like, I picture it in my head now as the Lucas Star Wars stuff comes out, and I could see the opening headline from people that want to hate it, and it's going to be George Lucas has lost his touch.
My thing is though, like coming from a video game background, like online audiences like have a big impact. Like they still do have a big impact on sales. It doesn't matter whether it's video games or whether it's movies. I mean, 100%. Just like a community and a fan base's feelings towards a project are going to leak over into the casual audience, into the casual sphere. 100%. It doesn't matter. Yeah, and so like I think that like if they wanted to go the more deep lore side, the casual audience at first will probably be more resistant to that idea. But I think that if they also please the hardcore fan base, that will leak over into the casual side. So I don't like, I think that, at first it might be a hard sell, but I don't want to underestimate it either. So
I just think we overestimate the number of fans that are entrenched in lore. And if we make a movie that is very mystical and lore kind of centered, I think that if that's our big reintroduction into like a Star Wars trilogy, I think it goes over a lot of people's heads, and it's going to turn into one of those like niche things that is kind of your thing. But that's not what we want for like a mainline saga trilogy. Like if we're starting like a new chapter in Star Wars, I think that what we need is something that I don't want to say just mainstream, but something more stream centered that it kind of brings in everything. Like for instance, Empire Strikes Back has incredible tones, and there's themes throughout that are so good. It's visually stunning. You have the intense fight stuff with Vader and Luke, and the big messaging there. You have the romance with Han and Leia. A lot of things that get a lot of people invested with lightsabers and the Force. And then you do have little snippets of that are very lore centric, like when Luke goes into the cave on Dagobah, and there's like this mystical moment. I think if we have those moments sprinkled in, that's what we need. If that Yoda like cave moment becomes like half the movie, where it's half the movie is that, I think you lose a lot of people in that way. So it's all about finding the right balance, because I'm with you, Jay. If you do a Star Wars movie without really appealing to those fans that are going to the movies for a little bit of the wonky mystical part of the Force, you will upset those people. And that's we don't want that either. You have to find that right balance, which I think, Luke, you would be awesome to attest to this. Having someone who comes from a background of writing and helping create episodes of Star Wars Rebels. Obviously, these are 20-minute contained episodes, but Rebels as a whole, I think, does a really good job of having the mainline conflict. It's rebellion versus the Empire. It's family versus everything, while also having weird episodes where Ezra's falling through a Jedi temple and having to figure out how to get through these weird visions.
Yes, and those are sprinkled in, and even a lot of times when you have a force centric, there's a lot going on with the force in that episode. It is balanced with Sabine over here doing this, and Hera's over here doing this. Like, you can have some heavy lower force stuff going on, but the balance is everything, really. And you made the good point. Like, half of Empire Strikes Back is not Yoda and force lore and stuff. Like, it's sprinkled in well, so. Balance is the key here.
And the good thing is we have a long time to debate this because it's going to be 2036 before we get a Star Wars movie other than Mando and Grogu anyway, I'm sure. So we have, though, a brand new show that comes out in less than a month in SWNN Crew. And I have to tell you guys, 100%, like, I swear this, I was not that excited for the show. Like, and by that, I mean, I was like a 6 out of 10 because I'm still excited about Star Wars. Like, I'm ready for it. That trailer had me hyped. Like, I am hyped for this show now from this trailer. It delivers on literally everything I wanted from like a trailer for this show. It looks fun. It looks weird. It looks silly. It looks goofy. It feels fun. Like you feel the gravity of Jude Law in this, the charm of Jude Law. I love the droids. Like, tell me, there's so many creatures. It feels like a fun adventure that we're going on where we sit back, no strings attached, no pressure, and have a good old time. Like, what about you guys? What did you take away from the brand new SWNN Crew trailer?
I think it looks great. This visually looks like it's going to be very nice to watch. I like that I don't know any of the characters. I really am going to look forward to getting introduced to these people, these kids, and going on this journey with them. That seems like they're going to get very lost, and Jude Law is going to get them hopefully back home somehow. So I'm really intrigued for what the story's going to be. I'm a story first kind of person. I just love the overarching story of Star Wars and every kind of book, comic, and show and everything. But it's got me very excited. I'm with you, Tyler. Like, I was initially, when I heard there's this show being introduced called SWNN Crew, I'm like, okay, sure, 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10. It's Star Wars. I'll watch it. This trailer has made me go, this looks really good. I'm like at an 8 out of 10 now because Tyler and I don't do 7s anymore. We're at an 8 out of 10. Oh,
you're on board?
I'm saying that for the bit. I might still do some 7s. Okay.
You weren't on the, I don't know if you listened to the last timeline show, Jay, but we were like saying what we were scoring test of courage, and I said 7, and I said, no, it's an 8. I'm done with 7s. I'm over 7s. I'm never rating anything another 7 again, because it's like, just have an opinion. Okay. 7 is like, that's the like easy way out. No, it's 6 or 8. There are no more 7s. I'm dying by this. This is going to be my new bit. But Jay, tell me, SWNN Crew trailer. Like, what are we feeling? What are the vibes?
No, I think that I really enjoyed that trailer. I think it kind of hit all the right notes of selling you on the tone and the atmosphere of the show, which is what a trailer should do. It didn't give away too much. In fact, like, there's still like some of that mystery surrounding Jude Law's character and his background, which is cool. I mean, even though like we as the diehard fans probably have like a good like sense of who he probably is going to be, for the casual fans, it's like, oh, they probably don't really know a whole lot. But I think this is going to be the one thing that we're probably going to be talking about a whole lot more. Neil. Neil was definitely like the standout. I mean, the moment where Jude Law's character goes, "Can you fly this, ship?" And Neil's like, "Huh?"
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Neil?
And Wim goes, "Neil?"
Yeah, so I mean, I think that they sold me on the lighthearted adventure. And I'm really excited for it too as well. I think like I'm like an 8 as well. Yeah, so I think that there's just a whole lot of positive buzz surrounding this. Hopefully, this will be like that good like kind of palate cleanser that I think Star Wars needs as well.
Yes, 100%. I vibed so hard with it because it felt to me like exactly what you just said, Jay, like a palate cleanser. Like I felt like I was just sitting back having a good time. And like you said, with the Neil part, just I laughed out loud. I'm watching the trailer. I just chuckled, I'm like, huh, this is gonna be fun. Just watching Jude Law be like, I need you to take the controls. And I imagine like we're in this moment and it's like a life or death situation. And Jude Law is telling the kid who he actually thinks has the most likely chance of running them into the ground. But it's like in teaching. I always, Luca knows this. Every single time I'm talking to anyone,
You got to
I
give
have to
like
talk.
the kid in the back an opportunity.
I have to talk about my students because they're like the driving force of my life and what I devote myself to. So I have to bring it up. It's like when you're in class sometimes and you give the kids the wheels on maybe how they're gonna answer or go a certain direction with a prompt or a writing assignment, and you just hope for the best and assume that the worst might happen, but it's like, what, I'm gonna give it to you. And I just love the fact where they're in this life or death situation, and Jude Law says, "All right," or Nod Jaw, whatever his name is, and he says, "Neil, you got the wheel," and just I love how in that moment everything just freezes, and you're just like, okay, like it's just gonna be fun. Like I love that idea where it's clearly the show's not taking itself too seriously, and I think that's perfect, like for what this show needs to be. And it did make me feel like that was a scene out of Stranger Things season 1 where maybe someone has something where it's like Dustin is in charge of doing something and Mike is like, Dustin, like Dustin, make Dustin do it, something like that. So I can't wait. It's this movie to me just screams like a good old time. I loved the droid, like that droid at the one scene where he just goes like
it's
RoboCop,
cool.
just punching like multiple, like boom, like it just like what were those toys called? They're like in Toy Story. What are
Rock'em
those toys
Sock'em
called?
Robots.
Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Yes. Oh my gosh, it's like the Star Wars Rock'em Sock'em Robots, and then they're paying with the Republic credits to do something, so which kind of gives us a hint at like the timeline for the ship that they find and what they're looking. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this. Luke, on a scale of 1 to 10 Neils, how confident are you that Neil will actually pilot the ship correctly? Because right after that, they show Neil at the controls and he looks a little out of sorts. Do you think the ship gets run aground in that time, and or do you think Neil actually like somehow gets them out of it on a scale of 1 to 10 Neils?
We're at 1 out of 10 Neils. He is going to crash that ship definitely, but he's going to learn a lesson and he will never crash another ship again. Okay, he's absolutely taking this one down. And Jod is going to then do a masterful job of comforting him emotionally. But he is absolutely crashing this ship.
Ben, do you have a lion in your bio because you watched the rest of the 3-hour video that we began in class today about the 50 greatest battles of the animal kingdom, and you got to the lion segment, or did you just add the lion in? Has that always been there? I'm just curious. So let's get a couple comments. Like RG said that he thought the trailer looked great, but he still wasn't feeling the modern music, even though it had alien language. I think that for maybe like a mass audience, that's not necessarily like a big issue. I didn't see much of that online, but I definitely think there are, like RG right here, there are Star Wars fans who would push back against like the modern modern music in Star Wars. So I'm curious where you guys are on the music, and is it too much for Star Wars? Is it just right? Do you kind of agree with RG, push back a little bit? I'm curious.
No, I think that like you're right though. It's not, the trailer wasn't meant for like the diehard fans. right? Like trailers are never for like they are for like a general audience, so it probably was to hit like a criteria or like a check mark, where it's like, oh, if you want a good trailer, you gotta go and do this. So it probably kind of was trying to go for like that more modern feel. Sure, like Star Wars fans, like I myself wasn't like a big fan of when they included pop music in the acolyte end credits.
Right.
But in a trailer, it's fine because it's not like the actual like show itself. If it was in the show, then it has to. You probably do want to alter it. But if it's just for the trailer, which is for again the general audiences to get them to go see that, to get them to go watch the show in the first place, that's fine.
Okay, all right, Luke, where do you stand on the music?
I feel like that's an interesting take from Jay, because I feel like in a lot of Star Wars video games there is music and it has lyrics, pretty much always in like alien language. I know that
The Jedi Survivor,
has quite a few songs
Yeah.
they're in alien language, so
It has an entire album dedicated to just those tracks.
yeah. So my opinion on it is that it's completely fine with me. I was vibing with it. I like that song, so to hear it in an alien language was the melding of two great loves for me. It's just some good music, some Star Wars. I'm here for it. I also, I'm probably in the
I don't even know what that
minority.
song is in English. Like
Major
I don't know.
Tom by, I don't remember the band.
See, I thought they just made this crap
RIP.
up.
Our parents' generation is so sad with us right now, but
I don't. You know me though. I don't like. I have like I have like pillars in my life in terms of like things that I feel like I'm super passionate about and try to learn as much as I can about them. And there's a lot of them, but I will say there's not even a support leg for music. Like I am so
I've noticed.
musically ignorant. Like I'm so musically ignorant in pretty much everything.
Major Tom.
I didn't even realize there
gonna
was like
say.
a real song either, though. I
yeah.
mean, like I kind of had a feeling it was, but like I didn't know what the actual song was, and I'm just looking it up now. So
Yeah, I'm probably like you guys. Like my dad and mom grew me up on like their music. I'm listening to country music with my mom and 80s rock music with my dad. So I've heard the song once or twice before, but yeah, I liked it. I'm a fan of it. I'm not saying that this. I'm not. Yes, yeah. I'm not saying this needs to be like how it should be going forward for everything. Like I thought it was kind of nice to sprinkle in something different and new.
Okay.
One time.
I kind of now that I'm a little bit more aware because I'm musically ignorant. See, I feel like I could talk about like compositional like music and some scores from Star Wars, and like we talked about John Williams stuff last week. I can go on about stuff like that, but you threw this in there with alien music. I thought they were just like, high on their own supply at Lucasfilm, whipping up something. Like I am firmly
That's when they're at their
believer,
best.
like I firmly believe that Ludwig Göransson, when he created the Mando theme, was like hotboxed in somewhere, just creating that. Like there's no way someone just whipped out the oboe and was going ham on that thing. Like no way. Just like just like George Lucas or like Dave Filoni. Sorry, like no, just like Dave Filoni, and maybe it was oh my gosh, I'm just Simon Kinberg were enjoying some good stuff when they were making the language of the Lasats in the Lyra San, episode, when they start doing their chants. I'm like, how do you know? No one just comes up with that in a normal Wednesday afternoon. Like that's crazy. I love it. I love it all. So I just thought they were just having fun writing an Anglian language music stuff. I didn't realize this was like an actual. We took a song, but again, that's me. I'm music illiterate, so I have a lot of room to grow. So I guess now that I know this, I'm more in RG's camp. Like, can we not let's hire someone? Let's get someone in there to like be completely original. But if it's just for the trailer, I'm all about it. If it's just for the trailer, I'm all about it. If it's in the show, we'll have that discussion here in a month when the show comes out. So I guess that's something. What is it? There it is. Lyra San Comasita. Lira San Coco Masi. Duh. Oh man, yes, so good. So good. Major Tom and Hatiz is just I'm gonna go listen to that now. That has to be on like Apple Music or Spotify at this point.
Guaranteed.
What did you think about I want to put this here, like this one right here was from Manslayer about the designs are a bit too close to earth, suburb school. They should go a little wild visual concepts. So I actually agree with what he's saying, but I have a point that I want to make with this, and it's I think they're making it seem normal and boring at first to just drive home the point that these kids are desperate for an adventure. Like this kid's desperate to get out of the boring and mundane. Like we want to get out of where we are right now because we want to go on the adventure with those kids. And I think it flips just from the normal boring classroom to the next time we see them after they get off the ship is they're in this weird alien market and there's like not a human in sight. There's just these giant weird aliens, that are giving them food and slop and they're paying with these Republic credits and everything at that point is just wonky and weird. And I think that's what the show's going to be after they get out of, the boring old suburbs.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it is on purpose that they look maybe too mundane, maybe too earthly. So that way, when you see these kids in a bar in the Ring of Kafrine or wherever they are, which is super alien, it's going to look just that much more drastically like they are out of their element. I think that's the point is like and there's also this weird, interesting thing at play where I saw this paragraph that like said they're trying to get back home and no one's ever heard of their home planet. So that's kind of another string at play here. So it's just
that's odd.
They're so out of their depth that there's no possible way they could ever figure out how to get back home by themselves. And I think that's just visually communicated to us by their clothing.
So no one's ever heard of their like home planet?
That is what one of the overviews said. That's one of the problems they're having trying to get back home.
You know what they need in order to connect like parts of like the outer rim together that would like be really beneficial so people could hear more about it?
What would that be?
Starlight Beacon. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. Something, I don't know. That's a cool name. I just came up with that. Starlight Beacon. That would be really cool. Connects everyone together. I do like this idea of like an isolationist planet though. Like
yeah,
this planet's
I've seen
like
some
trying
people...
to stay in there, just isolationist planet.
Exactly. It could be an attempt at the Empire trying to run like a utopia away from the rest of society or some kind of like weird social experiment on a global scale or something. There's something interesting going on here.
I kind of had that feeling too, just like watching the footage. I was like, there's something odd about this place. And I had a feeling that there was something like underneath that they're not talking about, and that there's like a hidden secret about the place. And if what you said is true, Luke, like I think the visuals help to reinforce that point. It's a lot like, if you like watch Equilibrium, 1984, these like really clean white, like just white paint societies, there's something dirty underneath, right? And that's the point. So I think like that might actually be something that's part of the story.
Or it kind of reminds me, and this is a way darker movie than what Skeleton is going to be, but did you ever see like Don't Worry, Darling with Florence Pugh and Harry Styles?
I didn't see it, no.
Luke, have you seen that one? It's kind of similar where like it's like they're living in a simulation, basically.
Is that what that movie's about?
So these people are like living, Harry Styles' character, like the men in this society have like basically kidnapped or forced a lot of these women and to be there like somewhere else, and they're hooked up to machines and they're basically living in this virtual reality, and she's trying to escape like this like virtual reality essentially because she's starting to discover that like there's weird things going on, and once she realizes it, then they have to kill her or whatever because she can't get out to ruin it for everyone else. It's like this weird thing where it's like this too. It's like cults trying to keep everyone happy, but you can't leave at all. And so I wonder if this society, it's not like that, but it's like they don't want anyone to know about what's going on outside. That's why the parents can't send and broadcast this message out, trying to figure out, where their kids are, because they aren't allowed to send messages outside of the planet because they're isolationists or they're hiding something, or there's this deep rooted fear of the outside, and like they're not allowed to do that. And that could make sense for why they're not able to get back home. Or it could be a really trippy thing where like maybe their home isn't like actually real in some way. Like this is like really trippy. I don't know. I think there's definitely something that could be there. I'm not a big fan of Don't Worry, Darling, personally. Like I'll just say, like I think that the third act is just all over the place, and it doesn't really deliver on what it builds up. It's like I think it builds up really well, but the third act is kind of just crazy.
I mean, like
it's an anti-Rogue One.
But if you're okay with a movie that doesn't, no, it's like, yeah, it's the anti-Rogue One. If you're okay with a weird, like a cool concept or a weird concept, but you just know you're going to be left like feeling hungry at the end of the movie, like then yeah, by all means, like go see it.
I thought it was just a straight up like romantic drama film.
Oh no, nope is not one bit.
That's what it looked like from like the promotions and the trailers and like the posters.
It's like a fake. It's like a fake romance because Harry Styles' like real life character is just obsessed with her, and because he's obsessed with her, he like kidnaps her, forces her into this simulation where she's his romantic partner.
Cool, you saved me like 2 hours of not having to watch that film.
Easy.
So
I think I might actually go watch it now.
He's gonna go. Where are you gonna? You're gonna go watch it. The movie that was in theaters 2 years ago. You're gonna go watch.
I'm gonna go to my couch and watch it.
I'm walking over to the couch to go see this thing.
I do have another theory for you that I've cooked up.
All right,
let's
hear last theory, and then we're gonna have some fun quick hitters before we get out of here.
Jod Nawood. People have been speculating.
Say that 5 times fast. Say that 5 times fast.
Jod Nawood.
You can't. It's impossible. I'm having my students say Jod Nawood tomorrow 5 times fast. I'm gonna give candy to whoever can do it.
I think there's been talk that he's a Jedi. I think he's not one. I think we saw a hologram.
No.
And he is talking to either his wife or his sister, and that is the Jedi figure. And I think she's passed away. I think there's a message recording in the ship that he's trying to find. And it's of his loved one.
Wait, say that again. Say that again.
There's a Jedi Master whose last name is Nawood in this show. That's also a character. And I think that is the hologram playing at the end of the trailer. I think he's trying to find this last message from either his wife or his sister. So he's just trying to find
who was the Jedi.
I think that's probably why he's in hiding. Is because he had this secret romance, and then that's why like he's all like this vagabond.
I could see. I think he was in love or siblings with a Jedi. I think that's what it is.
Could be. Interesting.
Somehow this last remnant of this woman was left on this ship that the kids have stumbled into. The ship was never able to be found because no one knows where the planet is. So now he's
Lover was a Jedi.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. I have not heard that theory. Is this Acolytes of the Beyond theory, Luke?
Absolutely. We have Yup Tashu, who is now actually enforcing Palpatine's. No, I'm kidding. Okay.
So, Jay, there's a inside joke between Luke and I about the Acolytes of the Beyond, because when the Mandalorian season 2 trailer aired, one of a good friend of ours that's in our Star Wars, like a Star Wars friend chat, he got super deep, and what's the name of Koska Reeves character, like the played by what's the wrestler's name? Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
And so when she's there with the black hood, like over,
yeah,
and it looks all dark side-ish, mystical. His like big prediction from the trailer is that she is going to be one of the leaders of the Acolytes of the Beyond, like from Exegol, and they're gonna tie like that into everything going on with the cloning and stuff. And it was like that was his big brain theory. And so we were all like, yes, actually. So now when it turned out she was just a random side Mando that doesn't really have any effect. We every time there's a random character that shows up in Star Wars or a trailer or something, we're like, could this character be Acolyte of the Beyond? So like when Captain Brutus was in like the promos for Skeleton Crew, like I put in the chat, I'm like, Captain Brutus of the Acolytes of the Beyond? Like could Captain Brutus be leading the children to Exegol? Confirmed.
Which they're a big part of the Battle of Jakku comics going on. The
They got their
Acolytes
moment.
of the Beyond are going on there. So
when
they did resurge.
Like in Shadow of the Sith too, with
yes.
the Acolytes of the Beyond. So Jay, Luke, we have some fall/Thanksgiving themed superlatives to give out here to some Star Wars characters, which I think will spark a fun, let's just have a good time discussion here at the end. And in the chat, let me know what you guys think, which characters fall under each, trait. We're not gonna go through all of them. I absolutely 100% trust Jay to pick the best ones for a fun discussion. So, Jay, throw us the first one. Which one are we going to talk about first here?
Yeah, so for this week, we want to just celebrate with Thanksgiving and the holidays coming up. There are a lot of different characters that we always run into in our family gatherings, whether it be like the drunk uncle, the one who or maybe you have the cool uncle who always like gives you candy or dessert before the meal, right? So with that being said, what's that?
I said, or a knife.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So with that being said,
to the kid, go play with this.
This is going to be Star Wars Thanksgiving superlatives. So first one we want to talk about is most likely to bring a bantha-sized feast. So we all have like that, the grandma, grandpa, who always goes all out, makes this big casserole that no one can finish, and that there's always leftovers. Who do you guys think would be the one to bring a bantha-sized feast for everyone to enjoy?
There is one answer and one answer only.
And
it is Dexter Jetster.
Let's go. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I was right there.
Give me Dex. You got that too, Luke? You going to Dex?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Here's the thing. He has 4 arms, so he can hold 4 different dishes at once. So like he owns his own diner, so he has access to people to do some cooking, to do some everything. And let me just say this. I trust a guy that looks like Dex to cook me up some Thanksgiving food. Like this guy knows what's up. He knows his way around. He knows his food. Look at that, 4 arms. Like he can handle my pie. We have the casserole. He can even hold the turkey, and then he can bring an actual bantha in as well. So there we go. Ben, hear me out. Dexter Jester.
We want someone who lives to eat, not eats to live. Okay, this is Dexter Jetster we're talking about.
Oh yes, I can't believe we're 1-for-1 in sync, Luke. Like that's amazing.
All right.
Another one?
Yeah, let me throw up another one. So this is a fun one. I think this will be another fun one. We all have like those really fun. We might have like a fun get together. It's getting chilly outside, even here in Hawaii. So I think that it's always a good time when you can gather around a campfire and tell some campfire stories. Maybe who's gonna bring the guitar, who's gonna bring like some music, who's gonna bring the s'mores. But this is again right here on the screen. Best at telling fall campfire stories. What do we think?
Luke, you can go first this time.
So there's a little bit of recency bias here, and I'm pulling from Legends, but I'm going to go with Darth Plagueis. I just finished this book today, and he doesn't shut up. He will talk he will just yap about Sith lore for pages, paragraphs and paragraphs. He is just unbroken. There is no break in the conversation. He's just talking. He's just talking and talking about his master and that guy's master, and all this stuff that happened. I'm
He
like,
does not
honestly,
shut up.
he'd be a good campfire storyteller. Honestly, I think he would be.
But here's the thing. With every, with a Sith, there is the master who has the power, and there's the apprentice coming to claim it. And I think the best orator in the galaxy has to be the man that convinced the entire galaxy to go to war against each other while he was pulling the strings, and the one who first told us about the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
I was gonna,
Can you imagine Ian McDermott's just rich voice coming to you over the campfire as you're frightened to death, and then he says, "And so be it, children," or something like that. Or now, children, you will die.
Yeah, I think he tells some great ghost story. Yeah,
because he looks like one too.
Manslayer has a tidal wave of a cake here.
Meeber. Oh.
Meeber Gascon.
Don't get me started.
Meeber Gascon will have me ready to sign up to join the Republic Army. Like I'm ready. I will join his squad. Him and
I was thinking. So I was thinking if it wasn't gonna be if it wasn't gonna be Darth Sidious or Emperor Palpatine, I was thinking Captain Rex. Captain Rex would probably some really great war stories.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Captain Rex would be awesome. No, I'm with you on that. That would be good. But yeah, Palpatine for me. All right, Jay. What's number 3, my lord?
Yes. We here in the northern hemisphere, it's getting in North America especially, we do celebrate Thanksgiving, and it's a good time to just be appreciative. It's a list of things that you're most appreciative of, and the people that you love to surround yourself with. So we're gonna go with most thankful for the Force.
Oh, this is so beautiful. I love this so much. I think there's clearly there's one answer here.
All right, let's hear it.
It's Luke Skywalker. It's Luke
Ooh.
Skywalker. He is not as emotionally needy as his father, Anakin, who would probably not be so thankful for the Force. But this guy, where he'd be without the Force still? He'd still be on his moisture farm on Tatooine. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And he also, I think, has a little bit less insecurity than his father, because I think Anakin's another person to be so thankful for the Force as well. But I also think Luke would be thankful for it. It helped him connect to his father, to bring his father back. It opened up all new possibilities in his life to discover. He wouldn't have ever discovered his family without the Force as well. So I also think Luke would just also sit around, especially post Return of the Jedi. Luke, they're getting together for Life Day, after defeating the Empire. He would just be the one to sit around, Leia and Han are there, Lando, and he'd just be surrounded, guys, look at us. This is so wonderful. I'm just so thankful that the Force brought us together for this wonderful occasion. And he would even put his arm around 3PO and say, even you, big guy, I just love you too. And he'd give Chewie that big hug. It's Luke Skywalker.
Really? The guy who cuts himself off from the Force for a decade is the most thankful for the Force.
and guess what he was for it? Miserable every second of the day. How thankful do you think he was for Rey to come back and reconnect him to the Force?
Which is where my answer comes in, because I'm answering Rey Skywalker. Much like Luke, she has experienced 19 years of life without the Force, or without really an attunement.
I'm with Luke. I'm convinced. I'm done. I check out. You win.
She has wanted to find her place in the galaxy for so long. The Force has driven that to her. It's kind of given her what she's been missing. She's needed her parents. The Force has helped her let go of that need. The Force has brought her family where she had none. A lot of this is like Luke, but I don't know, Rey, we're still in the up and up. Okay, we haven't seen her fall off or anything. She she seems very thankful for everything she has. She does not seem to take anything for granted. So that's my answer.
Hear me out. Ezra Bridger.
Okay.
He'd be a good one. He'd be a good one
It's a
too.
very good one. Took him off the streets.
He might not express it as much because he's a kid in Rebels. He's just a kid, but I feel like, especially adult Ezra Bridger now speaking, I don't know, Ezra Bridger.
That's
Maybe
kept him alive. Yeah.
Ki-Adi-Mundi, the only one in the order with 5 wives, or the most resentful. Oh, Thanksgiving with the Mundis. That'd be a good one-off.
Yeah, both are really
Much older
great.
than you thought.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm trying to look up. There's a character in Rise of the Red Blade. It's Iskadakaris' Jedi Master. He I was thinking about this guy because for some reason, like, this guy is like so like blind devotion to the Force, where he says, I think I have to go back to the actual book because I'm looking it up right now. But in Inquisitor Rise of the Red Blade, the Iskadakaris' master, he's constantly going like, the Force to provide.
Okay.
He's one of those like blind devoted like guys, and I feel like, nah, this guy's gonna give me a whole like, when sometimes like you're on the Thanksgiving table and you're about to like eat, and it's some like, some people will say a prayer. This guy's gonna give you a 10-minute sermon on the Force and say like, no, like, this is the Force is the one who provided this meal. So I'm gonna go with that guy, even though I can't find his name, unfortunately. But
Absolutely.
so moving on to
Give
the
me
next.
Give me another one.
Yes, I think this one, we do have those that we, like at Thanksgiving, we have and Christmas is the time for our loved ones to gather, people we haven't seen in a while. But there are some, unfortunately, some friends or maybe even family members, unfortunately, who we do not want to see because it can be very awkward. So this one's going to be best at avoiding awkward family questions. Which Star Wars character is going to be able to tactfully avoid a very awkward situation, or avoid a uncle or aunt who may not be as socially tact, shall we say?
I have mine.
Yeah,
I do have mine.
All right, let's say it at the same time.
I don't feel like we're
One.
gonna line up. Okay.
1, 2, 3. Padme.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I can see
both
Yoda. Okay, so I definitely see. All right, I'll talk about Yoda, and I'll give my perspective on yours, and then you tell me what you see in mine. Okay.
Okay.
So Yoda, I could see Yoda because he's just gonna like confuse everyone and talk in some riddle and kind of divert it all without really answering it. Pretty much, but at the same time, Yoda is someone though that he imbues wisdom, and he has never really shied away from a difficult discussion as well. So I think he would actually like go ahead and tackle the situation. I think we just all might be confused after he has asked the question. So if that was more of like best at avoiding angry family discussions, it might be Yoda who could tactfully like confuse everyone before. But I don't necessarily think that he would avoid the question. But I could definitely see him being able to circumvent it much, very differently.
Yes, I was kind of going for this
I can do
circumvent there, where like he'll just ask you another question back, and it's a way weirder question, and it leaves you kind of dumbfounded. Like it kind of just stops there. He doesn't even really answer it. So Padme Amidala is,
I mean, she's
a master.
princess,
She's been in the game since she was like 11, working on diplomatic
Diplomacy.
skills. She
I've
was
been in this
queen
fight
at
since I was
14.
6 years old.
She has a diplomatic answer for everything you throw at her.
Mhm.
She has watched liberty die with thunderous applause. She She can get out of any situation. I am very confident that, whether it's Anaconda Far trying to persuade her into this, or whether it's some other odd family Nabbery side of the family trying to get her to do something, she's going to be like, oh, you know what? Actually, Anakin needs me back there. Or like, oh, you know what? I don't really agree with that because of this, this, and
Right.
this. And she's going to nail it. She's always on her feet. She's 2 steps ahead.
Yeah, that's why I like she would be able to. She's the best. Like she's the master at maneuvering everything around. How many awkward questions do you think Anakin asked her over the course of those 2 years that they were together that she was able to like spin around and do that? I mean, she successfully navigated a Palpatine-driven Senate in a wartime, and we saw during Clone Wars and obviously before Attack of the Clones, she was close to getting a no army bill passed and getting them to stop, the conflict on both sides. So yeah, I like Padme. Love him, Padme.
I do like Manslayer's suggestion, Mace Windu, because I think that if someone asks Mace Windu an annoying question or like a question that's so inappropriate, he'd be like, "Well, why do you think that there?" He I think he'd give you like the death stare and be like, "You really think so?" Sort of thing.
Yeah.
He'd be upfront and direct
100%.
and be like, "No, you're dumb. Get out of my face."
100%. 100%. I'm with you.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on to the next one, we'll do a few more before we get on out of here. So on the other end, if we have people that are good at avoiding weird questions, we have those that bring it up. So this is going to be most likely to bring up a galactic conspiracy theory.
I have one answer. There's one answer. I got this.
I think you should go for it.
Qui-Gon.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon 100%. If Qui-Gon was in the real world today, he would be living on YouTube. Like Qui-Gon would be the guy that gets down the thread of YouTube videos and finds, he's like the person that has watched all the YouTube videos about like the JFK assassination and like the conspiracies around like everything, or the conspiracy. Like Qui-Gon would 100% like maybe be a flat earther or something like that. Like, he would be watching the conspiracy theories of all of these things. Like he would be so into it, and this prophecy guy, the Qui-Gon, and he's going to be right about one of them. But he's going to be involved in so many that it's like, oh, great, here he goes again. Like, he's going to tell us about something else. It's Qui-Gon.
He's going to be right about one of them. And he's going to fall down the rope. That reminds me of actually my answer. He is right about one of them. That would be CT 5555. Mr. Fives is absolutely a conspiracy theorist because he is correct about one of them. He just also will fall down the rabbit hole for all the subsequent ones as well. Okay. R.I.P. Fives, we love you.
Trauma.
But he's fallen down the rabbit hole because he found out one, and now he thinks they're all true.
I was gonna go with Jedi Master Sifo Dyas.
Ooh.
Because he definitely gets up to like some questionable things in the books and comics and all that, right? But I do like Manslayer's suggestion here, Peli Model.
Oh, that is a good one.
I like that.
She's absolutely
I mean,
worst take.
Like she already doesn't have any inhibitors, but like during the fall season, during the nights where they're serving drinks, I mean a few eggnogs, and she's probably gonna be telling you some crazy weird conspiracy theories.
That's probably true. I'm trying to think of like a random like one-off. I don't know.
Okay, so
Elzar Man.
Elzar Man. You think Elzar Man would be a conspiracy theory?
Aspen Rel. Yes, that's the one. That's the one.
I'm halfway through Tears in the Nameless right now.
Oh, you're halfway through Tears in the Nameless?
I'm halfway through.
It cooks so good.
Oh my goodness. Anyways.
Absolute cooking is being done.
Let's do two more. This will be the second to the last one because I think that holidays are for sure a stressful time. and we do have those people who do want to be there, and sometimes those people can actually even be fun. So we're gonna go with most likely to be grumpy about the holidays. Who's gonna complain to you about the 5-hour plane ride, or the traffic and the weather? Who's gonna complain to you who's gonna talk your ear off about how bad the snow is on the
Luke and
road?
I are going to be locked in on this
I'm
one.
locked in on this one.
I think we're the same. I think we're going to be the same.
I don't know about this. I don't feel good about it, but okay.
C-3PO.
I was gonna go Count Dooku.
Oh, wow. What? What are you going to hate on the count for? I'm going 3PO.
He does
Like,
always
all
have
he
a
does
complaint.
is complain.
That is true, yeah.
Like, he
Yes.
lives to complain. So if anyone's gonna walk in, he's gonna be like, the odds of the turkey burning this year are 1-to-1 or something, or the odds of us having a absolutely flawless Thanksgiving with no drama and nothing happening are 4,613-to-1.
It's a good one. I went Dooku because he seems like he's very upset about everything all the time, and any depiction he's ever written in.
Yeah.
He's not having a good time with whoever's in charge.
Yeah.
He's not actually great in charge himself. Everything is mismanaged in his mind, even his own life. So he's going to be
There's
complaining
Anakin.
about, the government, or he's going to be complaining about the weather. He's not happy.
Is-
He's not a happy person.
Oscar said Anakin. Is this like Revenge of the Sith Anakin, where like everyone he loves is dead? And that's why he's grumpy at the holidays. Like every
If it's-
single like he's showing up to Thanksgiving and Qui-Gon's not there, Obi-Wan's not there, Padme's not there,
Yeah.
Ahsoka's not there. Like, is he showing up and he's just like what's it, the Will Smith meme where he's in the living room just looking around like
Yeah.
like all alone? Like,
I think if it's Attack of the Clones, Anakin, for sure. He'd be like, it's not fair.
but what
I
if he's
should've
with
gone-
Padme? What if
I
he's going to
should've
Padme's family's holidays and he gets to be with her? and
Oh,
the
that's even
handmaiden?
worse though, because then like Padme's gonna be like, because Padme is gonna be like, because he's gonna be around like, he's gonna be jealous that he can't spend time with Padme, when she's busy, talking to her family and friends, and he's gonna be like on the side being like salty.
No, I think he would like thrive in that situation because
Really?
he doesn't have to pretend to be someone he's not like every day in his life. Like in this situation, he gets to just be Padme's husband, which I think in reality, that's kind of all he really wanted to be. Like he
Yeah.
just wanted to
Yep.
be able to do that. Like, no, I mean like from the standpoint of he just wanted to be able to say I'm
Sure.
Padme's husband and like live that life. And he could only do that in secret. And he was, not being able to do that in public. So I think in this situation, he would just I think of Anakin more so than any other like character maybe in Star Wars. Like for all of his flaws, all of his faults, like what he really wanted was a family. Like he just wanted people that he could be around and love and feel secure in that. Like he
Sure.
lost that every step of the way, like with Qui-Gon, with Padme, with Ahsoka. Like, I feel like Anakin, as much as he was power hungry and insecure about things, if he literally was able to just have his people together and have that, like I think he would have been like the happiest person in the galaxy.
And that is the tragedy of Star Wars.
Yeah,
That
no,
is- that is so true.
I like what Manslayer says here in the chat. You can call him if you manage Padme to wear a cute dress.
Juxtaposing that with Tyler's rant, I mean, wow, that's crazy.
It's funny though. Like I do think I was gonna side with you though, Luke, about Count Dooku, because Count Dooku is definitely gonna complain that there is not enough alcohol in this eggnog, and you'd be like,
This eggnog.
and then like you'd have to tell Count Dooku that like yeah Count, it's because it's for the kids.
And this eggnog is
Yeah.
crazy.
My cousin's actually sober this year. Well, that's not me. I'm not sober this year.
Okay, last one, and then we'll call it a night.
I would say Admiral Akbar might be a low-key Debbie Downer at the table.
Yeah.
Just
It could
saying.
be.
We're having a family gathering this year, Admiral. It's a trap.
Yeah, I was finding like a way in my head to like manage the "it's a trap" like line, and like as a pun, but you beat me to it. Okay. So speaking of dinner,
This is the
Thanksgiving
last
dinner-
one.
This is the last one. Last one.
Okay. Okay.
Let's end it on a funny one. And I want to give props to you, Tyler, for coming up with these because these are really great. But there's a lot of, I think everyone enjoys, coming around the dinner, sharing a great meal. We all have our variations on Thanksgiving dinner. Some eat fish, a lot of us go with the traditional turkey. Some have a roast pig. But let's go with the final one. Who's most likely to be mistaken as part of the dinner? Who's getting cooked?
This one was funny.
Who's getting fried?
So when I created this question,
Yeah,
with this character like in mind, like as I was creating it, like
Okay.
So I'm curious if Luke has anything he wants to share, then if he wants me to share like
Benjamin in the chat.
Ben, you
Yoda.
theme. You fiend, baby Yoda. He gets thrown in on accident.
He gets thrown.
I do have one that
imagine the
immediately
Mandalorian
comes
just like
to my
chucking
mind.
him.
I unfortunately that's not the character I had in mind, although that is hilarious. Luke, do you have one in mind, or you want me to share?
I do.
Okay.
I do have one in mind, but I feel like it's not. It's absolutely a movie character. It's just I feel like it's not an obvious one.
Okay.
It's just the first one in my head.
So the character I was thinking of when I put this together was Wicket. Was Wicket.
Same movie though.
Like, Salacious B. Crumb.
There we go. Salacious B. Crumb.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Salacious. That would be a nasty ass dinner though. Like Salacious B. Crumb. It'd be nasty. Like
Kawaki and
imagine
Monkey
that
Lizard.
those ears. You're like sitting that in the stew, and you get the tail on the other side. There. But no, I don't know why. I just thought of like Wicket when I was thinking this. Like he actually is like gets hunted, and the people are out trying to find dinner, and then you walk in just a giant teddy bear dinner.
You know who I have one. I don't know if you guys are gonna think the same way.
Wag
But-
to Luke.
Let me pull up one of these guys on my screen. I think a Boston spy. What is a Boston?
That's
But
an
they
insane pull.
many Bothans died to bring us this feast.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious, dude. Imagine going to that Thanksgiving dinner and then having just having her
Mothma standing
yeah,
there.
Mon Mothma.
She's like, "All right, everyone, gather, hold hands." She's like, "Remember, many Bothans died to bring us this food."
All right, let's dig in.
All right, can you pass the Bothan soup, please?
You're telling me like one of these? I mean,
I would like
Like,
some
I know they're
Bothan to go with
humanoid.
my side of porg.
I know they're humanoid and everything, but you're telling me one of these guys, like you're telling me they don't look like, if you roast them a little bit, you don't think that they could probably look tasty?
Man, that's borderline cannibalism because they are like a humanoid type figure. So we are getting dangerous. This is getting in dangerous territory with this one. But no, that's good.
Master
That's
Liebon.
Master
guess-
Liebon.
Oh.
Master Liebon from My Republic.
Phase
is
2, High Republic.
crazy.
Master-
Oppo Rancisis.
Oh goodness.
Honestly, just throw in like Yoda Yaddle, like the whole.
None of those.
the whole
Okay, the
band.
first one is to the left.
There he is.
Oh, this. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now
I was like,
remember.
none of
Yeah.
those are.
Like, why is Tay Sarek right there?
Vildar Mag.
Mildar Mac is wild. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. What's another like just random character we could throw in there? Babu Frick. Babu.
Oh, yeah. And
Babu
Zoans.
Frick would be crazy. He's actually
Koda
still
Joe.
alive when he's like he's in the oven banging on the door, and he's just like, "Hey, like open up this door." That's good. That's good. I like that.
Yeah,
But Salacious B. Crumb is crazy though.
Yeah.
Can you
That was my first
imagine
thought.
like you're like just chilling around, he's sitting there, he falls asleep, you grab him and you're like putting him on your plate, and then he just wakes up and you're like holding it and he just goes, he's like freaking out at that moment. That's wild.
Worst dinner ever.
Oh, so good though. So
Yeah,
good.
that was
What
a lot
about
of fun.
What about a Gamorrean? What about a Gamorrean?
Oh,
Like
Gamorrean.
what about a
Oh,
Gamorrean?
Warrior
Perfect.
Guard.
Perfect.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like societies do eat pigs, so.
So it's like Gamorrean just would be perfect. Right next to Neil. I would like a Gamorrean with a side of Neo, please.
I thought
Apparently
Bothan
it's
Spies
not
was
an
dark.
organ. Yeah.
Bothan Spy. Hey, our baby Yoda was dropped in the chat. That's
Oh,
like
yeah, that was
that's the
funny.
darkest one of all. So that's crazy. Oh my gosh.
I mean, just the image though of Babu Frick being in the oven going, hey.
He's the hands on the door. Hey. It's so bad. So, because everyone's desire would be to join us for fun discussions like these, hop on the Star Wars Newsnet live chat every Thursday as we talk about the latest Star Wars news, have fun random Star Wars discussions, and the like. You can join Luke and I every Saturday for the Star Wars Timeline Show, where we talk about the next piece of canon material. You can find that on Apple and Spotify every Saturday, or just check out the YouTube video to watch us talk about the next piece of canon material. The next one that we are talking about is the Edge of Balance manga from phase 1 of the High Republic. We're going slightly out of timeline order because this technically takes place after like a couple of the first couple comic issues and a couple random stories. But one thing is my current High Republic Adventures comics are with a student, so I can't, he's finishing that up this week. And then I don't have Starlight Stories yet. It's still being shipped to me. It's taking like 2 months to ship. It's ridiculous. So we're going to read this manga. We're going to have a good time with it. So that's every Saturday. Might be out Sunday this week just because of scheduling things. Luke and I are going to figure this out off air today. And then every Monday, you can catch the Star Wars Newsnet Monday podcast as well. Also available on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. This Monday, I'll be chatting with my friend Paul, who, if you've know him from previous Star Wars Newsnet streams, he also hosts a show called The Comic Binge, and he's on the Saga Continues podcast. Me and him are going to talk about this new news with Star Wars and Simon Kinberg trilogy, and what this means for some of the other films, what this means for the future of Star Wars. And we're going to take basically all the facts we know and discuss that. And then we're also going to kind of project maybe a little bit here and there. Always check out Star Wars Newsnet for all of our Star Wars news, needs. Star Wars news and needs. I guess if you need Star Wars in your life, go to Star Wars Newsnet. But check out Miguel's Sunday piece, Galaxy Far, Far Away. We update on everything, and I promise we do not, flood you with clickbaity bullcrap stuff. Like, we try to hit like the meat and potatoes of things, and also give some insight from like Star Wars fans' perspectives and some of the lore aspects that you might not get from the bigger trades as well. Luke, can you please give us a little bit of words of wisdom on the Edge of Balance manga? Like, if you had to give like a 5-second preview of that, could you do that real quickly? And then Jay is going to tell us about the gloriousness of Good Games Dude.
We get introduced to a character named Lily Toraasi, and her master is a Wookiee. And there's just real fun conversation between those two characters who don't speak the same language, and they work really well together. So it's a really fun story fighting against some sentient plants.
I love sentient plants.
Very dangerous. The Drengir.
I love
Yeah.
I do love the Edge of Balance manga. I think it is like one of the best publishing stuff in all like the High Republic. So I'll definitely be tuning in to your guys' chat this weekend.
I am excited to hear you say that, Jay. Also, speaking of like mangas and anime and stuff, I am now the sponsor of the Luminary Middle School Anime Club. So
Whoa. I didn't see that one in the cards.
didn't see that one happening, right? Now, I did not create this club. I had no intentions of being a club sponsor as someone who goes to grad school like 3 nights a week and does this and is living multiple lives outside of school. But when, 3 of your absolute awesome, amazing, nerdy students come to you and say, hey, we want to do the anime club. We need a teacher to sponsor it in order to have it. Mr. Bradshaw, like they put up the bat signal for Mr. Bradshaw, and I was like, yes, we can. However, they did want to do like Monday, Wednesday, Friday from like 4 to 6 or something, and I said, how about we just do like Wednesdays or every other Wednesday from like 3 to 4. Okay, I guess we could do it. One kid goes, we could even meet on Saturdays if you want. I was like, that definitely will not happen. Like, that's like illegal, basically. Like, we're not doing that. So that was funny. And so, anyways,
I love the enthusiasm, but no.
I love the enthusiasm. But I might just buy a copy of like the Edge of Balance one, so I could like present. I could have something to contribute, maybe while we're there. Anyway, so I thought that was funny. So. I'm plugging that. If anyone wants to send some funds for the anime club of Luminary Middle School,
I'll send you a
PSA,
suggestion.
we have nothing right now.
I'm watching Inuyasha.
Star Wars Visions.
Star Wars Visions is good.
I'm watching My Hero Academia actually right now. So.
All I know about anime is Edge of Balance and Star Wars Visions. That's all I know about anime. That's my only experience with anime. They just asked me to do it because I'm, a teacher that they like.
Edge of Balance is technically a manga.
It's true. Anime, mangas. Isn't it all fall under like a similar like branch? Because isn't that like literary manga or literary like anime, I guess, kind of?
It's kind of
is that what you call it?
Honestly, but it's just one's physical medium, one's something you watch on the screen. So I guess they're kind of two parts of one whole.
Great recommendation, by the way, Manslayer.
Full Metal. I was going to say this. This is my favorite one. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is the best thing. One of the best shows I've seen. I mean, that's great. It's great stuff. Oh man, Manslayer, that's a great one.
Yeah.
All right. So Shay, tell us about also Lord Blood Sith. We talked about the new Star Wars trilogy for like the first like 30 minutes of the show. If you want to go back and watch, we have that, and then we also
let's do another 30 minutes.
I'll do is 11:30, and also we'll have a Monday podcast coming out on Monday, obviously, about the new Star Wars trilogy in the works, and we're gonna get into all the dirty details of that. So make sure you go listen to that, Apple, Spotify, at Star Wars Newsnet, or just you can watch it on YouTube as well. But Jay, go ahead and tell us about your YouTube channel, Good Games Dude.
Yes, my YouTube channel is called Good Games Dude, which focuses on helping newcomers and experts of video games grow in their appreciation of video games. So here it is. Go feel free to check it out on YouTube. My biggest series of videos is the Gaming Essentials. So whether you're, again, a newcomer or someone who's been playing video games for 20 years, I give my recommendations on what are some of the most key video games to play and to have in your collection for historical sake, because these games are fun, or maybe even just some weird like left hooks that are, like curveballs that might be, on your blind side for video games. So this week and for the next few weeks, I will be having some new installments on that series, including one on Final Fantasy VI and Assassin's Creed 2. So if you're a fan of those games, or if you've never played them but I've heard a lot about those games, feel free to check those out. Again, that's Good Games Dude on my YouTube channel.
Are you gonna review College Football 25 anytime soon? Today?
You know what? Like,
I played it for the first time last weekend. I haven't got to play it because I don't have a PS5.
Yeah.
And I gotta play it for the first time, and I had a lot of fun. But like, there was like such a big learning curve from previous, college football games. But I had a lot of fun though playing
sports
it. I would
games.
love to.
Yeah, sports games definitely get a bad rap among the gaming community, but I mean, it is a big part of like the casual gaming audience. So I would definitely figure out a way to work in at least just got to be one sports game. Maybe I'll work in Mario Golf.
Mario Golf. You said sports. No, we're getting on together, and we're gonna like do a live stream. We're gonna play some like 2K. We're gonna play some NCAA football.
Yeah,
I grew up in the trenches
Madden.
of 2K and NCAA. Man, I in the trenches.
I grew up in the trenches of FIFA. Oh my goodness!
Never really got into FIFA. Mortal Kombat, I guess, too. But that was more like we had no idea we were doing, just button mashing, the whole time. But anyway, thanks for hopping in, everybody. We'll see you next week. Remember, oh my gosh, hold on. Got to scroll up and find it. What is it? Oh my goodness. Yes. Everyone, please remember, Lira San, Coco Masita. We are all the Republic. For Light and Life, everyone. See you next time.
Have a good night, everyone.